Hello, fellows. Welcome back to the Fallacious Truth. Today we're going to take a look a bit deeper into the videos of the previous video that I made, entitled The Equal Rights, Equal Fights. The videos, to a lot of us, especially those who have been in these types of situations, we know what's going on in the minds of the men to whom are being assaulted. Not everyone can understand, and not everyone knows just what they are thinking, though, and why they're reacting the way they react once they've done or said something. In this first video here, we see Dr. Phil. Now, I don't know whether this stuff is staged, if it's based off of real events, or if it's legitimately real. I haven't done much research into the show itself. Suffice it to say, they're treating it as though it's real, and we're going to do the same thing as well. Let's watch the clip here.
These are Michael's allegations. He says that she attacked with football moves and tackles and punched, kicked in the face, had a chair that was swung at him from across the room. His mouth was cut up, bloody nose and scratches on his face, neck, and chest. So you say she has come at you, she has attacked you, and that oftentimes you have done what you have done purely in defense.
Yes, that incident, definitely.
I don't care what she does. If she starts punching you, then you turn around and walk away. If she starts following you, then you walk faster. If she starts chasing you, then you outrun her. If you have to, you get behind the door. But you don't ever, never, ever put your hands on a woman in anger, ever. And somehow or another, you think that's funny somehow?
Now, I'm a pretty even-tempered guy. It takes a lot to get me mad and upset. I've always been that way. I'm not even a minute and a half into this, and my blood is boiling. We aren't a minute and a half into this, and I feel myself getting tense. I feel myself getting heated up because my adrenaline is starting to pump. I feel myself getting amped up because I know exactly what's going through this man's head.
Tell me what's funny about that. You just don't put your hands on a woman in anger. And anybody that does is a chicken coward.
Now, like I said, I know exactly what this guy is thinking and feeling right now. And he's not laughing because he thinks it's funny. He's laughing because there's really nothing he can do or say to him. So the only thing that's left is to laugh.
No, you're not done. No, let me tell you.
I'm done.
Okay, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. If you want to be done, if you want to walk out of here, then you can walk straight into the LAPD, my friend. Because, and let me tell you something. Because last night in our hotel, as our guest, you decided to trash a hotel room. And in that hotel room, you created vandalism of personal property. And let me tell you what that amounts to, okay? So you want to get all self-righteous with me, buddy boy. You smashed the thermostat, you smashed the glasses, you tore up the lamp, and every person who maliciously commits any of the following acts with respect to any real or personal property not his or her own, in cases other than those specified by state law, is guilty of vandalism, and that person faces up to a year in prison and a $10,000 fine. So you are here by my grace, my friend. So you can talk to me or you can talk to the LAPD backstage, your choice. If you think a man putting his hands on a woman in anger is cowardly, stand up.
Dr. Phil here is telling him that he can't defend himself. And I quote, from being kicked in the face, tackled and punched, having chairs swung at him, his face cut up, his nose being bloodied, and scratches all over his face, neck, and his chest. You know the woman there shaking her head? She's lying because she can't make eye contact, and she knows all she needs to do is bat her damn eyes and everybody in the room will believe her. It's absolutely appalling. So, like I said, the only thing the guy can do is chuckle, because he's now backed up into a corner. He's backed into a rock and a hard place, and there's nothing he can do. He has Dr. Phil telling him that under no circumstances can he defend himself against a woman, even though very clearly there's physical violence involved here. Dr. Phil explains while pointing to the woman, I don't care what she does. And take note of what she's doing here. She puts her head down because not only does she know that she's guilty, she knows that her privilege in society of a permanent victim status is going to get her further here. And she's trying to make herself look like an innocent victim of circumstance by making herself look smaller. Well, she in actuality is the aggressor. He has an audience that's cheering what Dr. Phil has to say, and he has his wife in front of him looking all innocent. And if he says anything in the defense of himself on national TV, he's going to look like a misogynist, a woman hater, someone who wants to hit women, etc., etc. Anything will be said in order to perpetuate the narrative that he shouldn't defend himself. And might I add here, being the sleazeball that Dr. Phil is showing himself to be, he doesn't say you don't ever put your hands on a woman out of self-defense. He says you don't ever put your hands on a woman out of anger, further trapping the man into agreeing with Dr. Phil. This is infuriating. He carefully crafts this to bring out the outcome that he wants by using the word anger instead of the phrase self-defense. Now, once we get towards middle of the end of the clip here, Dr. Phil calls him a chicken shit coward. The man attempts to leave because he knows this isn't going anywhere. He knows that everything said thus far has been a manipulation and outright fabrication of the truth. And the only thing he can do to get out of the situation now is to leave. Now, there's those who say that he should have stood up for himself instead of trying to leave, and those who say he took the right path by trying to leave. Both points of view have merit here. However, trying to leave, I personally think is the best option, because he literally has the audience, he has Phil, he has his wife against him, and he's being made to look like the bad guy no matter what. Next, we have Dr. Phil talk to him about him vandalizing a room with no backstory, no context, nothing. Simply thrown in there to have something over his head. And quite honestly is nothing but a red herring to the conversation, which also kind of makes me wonder if the show is even true. If any of you know in the comments, it would be greatly appreciated to have that confirmation. The clip finally ends with Phil asking the audience to stand up if any man puts his hands on a woman out of anger, to agree with him by standing up. Well, let's take this at face value. Yes, absolutely, I would agree with that. However, that's not what is being claimed here, and a man should have the right to defend himself against physical violence from anyone, including a woman. The only abuse here is what this man had to endure from his wife. Dr. Phil here is a cowardly disease for saying what he did, twisting and manipulating the actual situation to fit his own narrative. Okay, let's move on to the next clip here.
Capsule 60s में पहुंच गए हो? What is it with those faces? What are you doing? What is that? These guys don't have tongues? No, really, they can't talk.
Fabian, wanna say something? No.
क्यों? देख के ही फट गई. Idiot. क्या है यार? These guys have no life in them. I'm telling you guys something, you'll have absolutely no reaction. Okay. I guess I'm done over here. Thanks, guys.
Isha, I think तुम इन दोनों को अपना challenge क्यों नहीं दिखा देती?
There's not one word coming out of their mouth.
Actually, the thing is that we don't want to talk with you, actually. That's
Why
the
don't
thing.
you go and f*** off then?
You go. How can you slap? How can you slap?
Now, I don't know if this is some kind of game show, reality TV show. I've got no idea where it's from or what it is. All I know is you see a woman assault a man, and Captain Sabaho Russian pushes the man out of the way after he's just reacted to being assaulted, which is a natural reaction, might I add. He was smacked, and he simply smacked back. You know, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. But here's what we need to focus on. Not the fact that he slapped back, but what he did afterwards. He had an oh shit moment. I just hit a woman on national TV. He didn't think to himself, I can't believe this woman just slapped me on TV. When you see that look in his eyes, he was saying, oh shit. He was thinking to himself, I just slapped back when societal standards say I can't defend myself. When societal standards say that it's okay for a woman to assault a man, and I'm supposed to do nothing about it. Ladies, it seems as though the only way you're going to stop treating men like this is if we engage equality mode with you. If you hit a man, you better be able to fight like one. She had this look of, how dare you? I can't believe you just did that. As her societal privilege says that she can assault a man with no consequences. And she just, probably for the first time in her life, got a taste of what equality is like, what it's like to be a man. The only difference here is, if it were a man, 9 chances out of 10, he would have been beaten into submission. And because of that fact, the man would have never smacked to begin with. You see, most men aren't stupid enough to know that there isn't going to be a consequence and equal or opposite reaction to assaulting somebody. Anyhow, the host and presumably security, they didn't scold the woman for first striking the man. The reason for this is it's normalized in today's society through movies, through social media, through shows like this. As soon as Captain Sabahar runs in after he's been assaulted, because he actually reacted to being assaulted instead of just standing there, as soon as we see the captain run to the damsel in distress, he pushes him away from her as if he is the aggressor. I don't know if the other man was some kind of security, if he was simply someone from an audience of some kind, but both men ran to her aid when she was the one who should have been hauled off for assaulting him. And to make things worse, as soon as he struck back, he went into oh shit mode again because he knew that he was supposed to stand there and take it. He tried to soften what was coming to him by saying, how can you slap? But this had no effect. Both of those men were in full captain mode, and the woman was simply in her full entitlement mode. It's abhorrent that she wasn't thrown out for striking him, but that's what is to be expected in today's society. I don't know about you, but this subject, at least for me, it's one that really strikes a nerve because as men, we're stuck between a rock and a hard place when attempting to deal with a situation like this. I mean, what you can do in a situation like this, it's pretty limited, especially if you're planning an exit from an abusive marriage, and especially if you want to make sure your children are with you. One of the segments in my upcoming series will be what you can do to mitigate the negative consequences in a situation like this. It's not completely helpless. There are certain things you can do, but each one of those things has consequences of their own attached to them. And as thus, you need to be extremely careful how you respond, and extremely careful with whatever you decide to do. I was going to do a couple more clips with this, but I think this pretty much says it all right here. There are a few other nuances that can be said, a few other things that need to be paid attention to in a couple of these clips, but they aren't as important as what we just witnessed. Still though, I might put them in a future video. Anyhow, thank you my friends for tuning in with me today. Please like, share, and subscribe. I would be immensely grateful. Thank you and take care.